Well, I would say that it's been fun since 2006 when we first qualified to the World Cup, that is the Senior World Cup. I mean, the feeling, the euphoria in town was something that we had not experienced before as a country. For me as a journalist, it's extremely disappointing because I covered the 2006 World Cup, I covered the 2010 World Cup, I covered the 2014 World Cup, and I was actually expecting to cover the next year's World Cup. But like I said, it looks like as a nation, brutality. We didn't prepare very well. The fact that we had qualified to 3 consecutive World Cups had also eaten so much into our heads, and so planning was extremely poor. And for me as a journalist, I also take part of the blame in terms of exposure. Because when it is that you cover the World Cup, you're exposed to the outside world, you're exposed to new environment, you're exposed to new frontiers. I mean, you're exposed to new ways of working, and so it will be extremely disappointing that I will not have such an opportunity to learn on the job. But whatever it is, it's a learning curve. I mean, we made a mistake. We didn't qualify to the 2018 World Cup. I know there's another opportunity in 2022 for us to qualify to the World Cup. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's extremely disappointing. You understand that for them as players that they want to play at that high level. For me, also in my job, it would have been that thing at that point that you get to see some world-class players, and as it's a big tournament, it's an opportunity just not to see your country, but to meet other countries and other journalists from the whole world to learn something. So for that learning aspect of it is gone. The fun, of course, is also gone. But it's heartbreaking that Ghana couldn't make it this time around. For me as a journalist, I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, well, on a personal level, I would say that it's a big miss for me, because if probably I could have been in Russia to cover the game. So now all I have to do is maybe sit in Accra, do radio and TV, which won't pay like, getting yourself at the tournament. And then in Russia, you make new friends, you get in contact with people, you learn what they are doing over there, an opportunity to get into another country and learn their ways of life. And I think that I'm very disappointed we failed to qualify for the World Cup, and not even just the World Cup. I think the CHAN qualifiers as well. It would have been great for journalists to go cover the game. So a bit disappointed in that aspect. Very disappointed.
It would have been good for us to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, it's every journalist's dream, sports journalist's dream, to cover the World Cup or cover major international competitions. And for us, missing out on this very World Cup is so disappointing from my point. Because when you go to the World Cup, there are so many things that you learn. You meet different people from different cultures, and as a person, you learn a lot of things. Also, you put us on the map. You realize that you've been at the World Cup in the last few editions. We're in Germany, we're in South Africa, we're also in Brazil. Looking at the name it gave us, especially some of our players. Most of our players were able to get contracts based on their appearance at the World Cup. The World Cup always helps. It helps players, it helps the country, it helps individuals like myself. So Ghana missing out on the World Cup is a huge disappointment.
Well, I mean, given the mood of negativity that surrounded the last World Cup that we were at, remember Brazil 2014 and the whole bonus round and everything, I don't think Ghanaians have sort of, migrated out of that mentality, because, people still see the World Cup through a prism of negativity because of what happened. And so us missing Russia 2018, hasn't had that much of an impact in terms of, getting people depressed or people sad or people feeling that they've genuinely missed out on something. I think the team is still struggling to win public affection, and so not a lot of people can say this is a genuine loss for the side. But of course, for journalists, they would have loved to travel. I would have loved to travel to Russia if we had qualified. That wouldn't happen. A lot of colleague journalists from Nigeria will have the opportunity, and so that is also there. But then again, I think for the general fandom and for the Black Stars and for what it means, with the relationship between the Black Stars and the fans, I don't think there's much of a loss there. Of course, for the players, most of them would have loved to sell their talent out there in Russia. But then again, we are building a team. We shouldn't rush. Missing a World Cup, for me, it's not a big problem for Ghana at this point.